Hi.
Hello guys, if you are brand new to my channel, my name is Nikki and this is my book nook. Y'all, today I'm so excited, but also not at all mentally prepared because we are finishing the Devil's Night series by Penelope Douglas. Y'all, I absolutely fell into love and obsession with this series this year. It was the first of Penelope Douglas's books that I've read, and she's now my favorite author. So this series holds like a special place in my heart, and I've been dying to finish it because like I need to know what happens. I need more of it, more of these characters, but I've also been so like anxious about it because like I don't want to finish it. I don't want the world to be over and out of my head. Like I love the comfort of it just sitting there on my shelf, but y'all, Devil's Night is approaching in real life the day before Halloween. So now is the time, and I just thought it would be great to finish this journey with you guys in a reading vlog, giving you my real-time reactions. There is not a single other book on my channel that you guys have like DM'd me about, telling me that I introduced you to more than the books in this series. Did that make sense? You guys constantly tell me that like I introduced you to Penelope Douglas because of my videos on this series, and like that literally makes my heart explode because this series, I love it so much, and the fact that like so many of you people found it through me is insane. I love it so much. It makes me so happy. But yes, now is the time. I'm ready to start this little adventure with you guys. This should be obvious, but I'm gonna be doing full spoilers in this video. This is like the fourth installment of the series, honestly. Like I'm not gonna be able to talk about it without giving anything away, and I wanna be able to just like live it with you guys and just react and talk about it. So if you haven't read this yet, go watch my spoiler-free review on Corrupt, start the series, and then come back to this once you've finished it, because I don't wanna spoil it for you because it's really that good. But the final sort of like saga of the Devil's Night series is really the main book, Nightfall. This is Will's book, the final of the four boys, and the one that I mean, Damon's book has been my favorite so far, Kill Switch, that was the third book, but Will has kind of been like a little mystery. He's kind of the guy that we've gotten like the tiniest little tidbits of all this time. Like I feel like we know the least about him, but it's kind of been slowly building, and like the more we've been subtly learning about him, the more interested I've been. So like at the end of Kill Switch, for several reasons, I was so ready to read this book, but this is the thickest of them all. Like this is a very long book. It's on the shelf. It's like, damn, she thick. I'm so pumped for it, but before we start Nightfall, we have to read Conclave. This is book 3.5 in the series. It's actually a novella. It's only like 100 pages, but I don't know if this came out after Nightfall or before, but all I know is this fills in like a little bit of a gap between Kill Switch and Nightfall. I think I barely skimmed the back. I don't like to read synopsises, especially on like books I know I'm gonna like. There's no point. I don't want any type of spoilers if I don't have to get them, but I do know that like Will kind of disappears or goes like MIA for like a hot minute, I think, before Nightfall starts. So I guess this kind of explains like where he is or what's going on. I don't know. But we're definitely gonna start with this, then we're gonna move on to Nightfall, obviously the main event, and then Fire Night is another novella that I think takes place like in the future, like 10 years from now. I think it's about their kids. I feel like I heard that somewhere, but we'll get to that at the end of the video. The first thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna read Conclave. It's so short that I don't think there's gonna be a need to like check in the middle, so I'm probably just gonna fly through this real quick, and then I will give you guys my thoughts on it tonight, and then probably tomorrow we're gonna start Nightfall, and I'm so excited. I really don't know if I'm ready, but there's no going back now, so I will talk to you guys in a bit. Okay guys, hello. It is quite literally 1 in the morning on a Saturday night. We are party animals over here, but I finished Conclave. It was good. It was only 80 pages. I thought it was 100, but actually the last like 20 or so was a completely different like bonus chapter that didn't really like matter that much to the overall story of this book. It was good. It's definitely kind of like a little filler moment. It's definitely like bonus content. I feel like it'll make more sense once I read Nightfall. Like I think I'll see really like why these things that were talked about were like key and necessary before reading Nightfall. Pretty much the entire like point was Will has been missing for 13 months. Nobody knows where he is, but they suspect that he's at Black Church, which I know that this was talked about in previous books, but I'm just kind of blanking on it. I feel like Damon's dad threatened it or something. Am I making that up? I think it's basically like this little castle island prison thing that the boys get sent to, and it's to like turn them into men. Am I making this up? Am I on crack? Again, it's 1 in the morning, I might be. They kind of briefly explained it, but they're guessing that's where Will is right now. Some people speculated he's at rehab, but it doesn't sound like that. And then his parents like aren't concerned about him being missing, so they have to know where he is. Basically, they're just like, where's Will? We gotta figure it out. So that's the point of the story. I'm sure that's gonna be revealed, like where he is basically at the beginning of Nightfall. And then it's finally, a lot of this book is like conflict between Michael and Rika. Pretty much the whole premise with the Conclave thing is Damon and Rika are like talking at the beginning, and they decide like there's a bunch of things that the whole kind of group needs to sort out. So the best way to do that is to all get in like one confined space where they can't like get away from each other, so they can sort these things out. So they decide to go all on the boat together. The Pitham, I think is what it's called. Yes, the Pitham, the infamous boat from Corrupt, where Rika and Michael and Will all almost died. It was a great time, and now we're all just friends holding hands around the campfire on this boat. But yeah, they're gonna go there together and kind of sort out some various details, the main being like, where is Will? How are we gonna find him? Whatever. But we also know from the beginning of this book that Rika has a secret, and I've suspected this kind of for a while now. And actually somebody that watched one of my videos kind of put the idea in my head, and once they like commented that, I'm like, okay, 100%. Rika basically is infertile. Like, she's struggling with infertility. They've been trying to have a kid. Like, I kind of suspected it because every other couple so far, well, just I guess Damon and Winter and Kai and Banks, like popped out kids like immediately, because I guess they do that at age 20 in this world. But Rika and Michael were like the first to get together, and they haven't, and that's something that's like really important to Michael. So it seemed kind of like obvious that that was a thing. So yeah, that was kind of finally revealed. Honestly, Michael was like a bit of a jerk in this. Like, this really kind of made them seem very toxic, and like I'm here for that. No tea, no shade. But I feel like in the other books you get to see more of their like happy and sad and ups and downs, and this kind of whole book was just them kind of like fighting. But then of course it had a spicy little happy ending, so like it's all good. I'm ready to dive into Nightfall though, for sure. Yeah, this was good, but like this is the main event, and I'm ready to move on to it. It is so freaking long. Let's check the pages. I feel like it has to be 725-ish is what it's looking like. Oh boy, this is gonna be fun. Okay guys, it is a different day, but I just flew through the first 100 pages of Nightfall, and I'm already so hooked and so obsessed. I miss this world, I miss this series so much. It's already so good, and I'm just like excited to talk about it with you guys. Basically, what has happened so far, this story, just like all the other books in the series, just like all of Penelope Douglas's other books in general, is dual point of view. So far we've only really gotten Emery's perspective, except for the last chapter I just read. It finally switched to Will, which I love it. But Emery, basically at the start of the story, present day, has woken up. She's in this abandoned mansion. She doesn't know how she got there. She's lost time. She's very confused. It's just her and like a few other guys, and pretty much it's revealed that she is at Black Church. It is confirmed. That's what was talked about in Conclave. And Will is also there along with a few other guys. And the explanation of Black Church, like, it is explained more. It's basically, yeah, like this place that very rich, important, wealthy people send their sons instead of, like, if they think they're gonna end up in prison because they're making bad decisions, this is kind of their version of prison to kind of set them straight. They'll send them to this place for months or sometimes even years at a time to kind of make them learn responsibility, fend for themselves, whatever. And apparently the location changes frequently, so no one really knows where it is. So the guys that get sent there, it's always like in the middle of nowhere, I guess, and there's no way to really get out. They kind of have to fend for themselves. Once a month someone comes and brings supplies, but otherwise they have to like hunt, and it's a whole thing. But yeah, Emery is there for some reason, doesn't know why. Obviously we can tell in the beginning. Will is there. There is some tension. You can tell they have a past, and all the dots kind of connected for me. All of these books do go back to like Corrupt, the first book, the original Devil's Night. And I remember now that Emery is the reason that Will ended up beating up that cop, because he is Emery's older brother and he's abusive. So that's all like revealed in the beginning of the story. You can see that like Emery has a lot of bruises on her and she doesn't have very nice like clothing, and you can tell she's very like afraid of someone. And it is revealed that it is her brother. She lives with him because her parents passed away. It's her brother and her grandma, who's very old and is like about to pass away. And her brother is like psychotic, like just very controlling, like once everything done a certain way is like super hard on Emery. She can't do anything right, and he very much like abuses her like to the extreme. We saw it already and it was a little bit nauseating, but you know, it adds to the character development, I suppose. But so also like the other books in this series, we are flipping back and forth between the present and the past. We're jumping around in the timeline. I love that so much. That is literally like one of my favorite things in books, when every other chapter is like past, present, past, present. Like I love the way it builds two stories at a time, and I love the way things are like subtly mentioned and then revealed and confirmed, and like you're putting all the pieces together. I love it. So in this book, we are flashing 9 years in the past, which I'm almost positive this is going to be like the Devil's Night from Corrupt. That's what it seems like it's leading up to. But pretty much like the whole deal is the Four Horsemen give Emery a really hard time because her dad is a cop, and because they obviously cause trouble. Her brother is like on their case a lot of the time. His name is Martin. And so they like kind of take it out on her. They kind of bully her, but not really in like a bad way. They just kind of are always like picking on her, and nothing too aggressive, but they just always kind of follow her around and poke fun, and she doesn't like it. But Will and her have some like tension between them. I'm just obsessed with this so far because I really liked Hideaway and I really liked Kill Switch, but one thing that I've really missed in those books is the way that Corrupt really showed us like all the guys at once. Like I loved the chemistry, the interactions between like Rika and all the guys. Like I like how they were all involved, where like Hideaway and Kill Switch has really just been more like the main couple, like Kai and Banks, and then just really Damon and Winter. We didn't really see, like the other guys were in it, but they were really just kind of like sprinkled in. I'm obsessed with this so far because all the past scenes, we're seeing the boys in high school and we're seeing them all together and interacting, and that's just something that I've missed and wanted more of. Like we hear so much about how the Four Horsemen like ran the high school, and we hear like, you know, just things about that in the other books, but in this book we actually get to see it, which I'm just really loving so far. And that's pretty much like where we're at. There's this whole group of guys again at Black Church, and there's kind of a main guy that's like a leader, and his name is Aiden, and you can tell he like, I mean, they're all interested in Emery because she's like the only girl they've seen in a really long time, but you can tell that Aiden is like really interested in her and is like trying to get under Will's skin with it. So I think that's going to be a point of contention. I sense some major craziness going on with this forced proximity reverse harem situation that's surely going to come to fruition. But yeah, we're trying to figure out like, why is Emery at Black Church? Will at this point thinks that Michael sent her, but I feel like that's probably not the case. I don't know. We're about to find out, but literally obsessed. I will probably check in with you guys in another 100 pages or so. I love it. Okay, hello guys. I'm on chapter 12, I think. I'm at the 200 page-ish mark. I don't really have much else to say right now. I kind of just want to like ditto everything I said before. I'm really liking it. I'm really into it. I love how in the past we're seeing so much of the guys together in high school. Like, I just love the feel of it. One thing I totally forgot is that Emery is making that gazebo that they end up like burning down on Devil's Night. And one thing I forgot to mention the last time I checked in, Trevor is in this book, as in Michael's dead brother Trevor that he killed personally. I literally like forgot Trevor existed, and I was actually thinking about that recently. Like whenever I was gonna start this book again, I was like, we really just like killed off Trevor and like forgot he was a thing, and forgot that Michael like killed his own brother. It's kind of like everybody's life just like went on and it's fine. So it's been really cool to see like little snippets of him in this book, and then Emery totally just like gave Trevor the idea of like, or put it in his mind that the guys are stupid for like recording and documenting everything on their phone, and you could see the gears in Trevor's head kind of turning, that like he could totally expose them with that. But yeah, I mean, like the tension and everything between Will and Emery is like raising in the past as we're going through the chapters, and I love it. Emery has like a very strong head on her shoulders. She's in a very bad situation, like her at-home life. Like those scenes are just awful. Like her and her brother, I absolutely hate them, but it just shows even more how like strong of a character she is and how she likes Will, but she's not willing to give into it. There was this whole kind of like rant she went on whenever they were at the pool. That scene where she basically explained to Will like why she's not going to give in to him and like why she's not going to give him that satisfaction, because like he's just going to go on with his life and he's like super privileged and he's just going to grow up and she's just going to be a notch on his belt and she's not going to let him have that. I thought that whole like monologue was fantastic. And then kind of present day, still like they're just in the house still trying to figure out what's going on. Emery started fighting people. That was kind of bonkers, but again, badass biatch. And then something very wild just happened between her and Will. The tension is settling in and I can tell things are just gonna get progressively crazier. I said I didn't have a lot to say and then I rambled on for like 3 minutes, but yeah, that's like kind of where we're at. I love Will. I think he's like really different from the other guys. I'm loving getting a look inside of his head. I'm really obsessed with this book so far. Like, I mean, it's again very thick. It's kind of like a slower story than the other stories, but like I've enjoyed every single second of it, and I'm really interested to find out like what the deal is with Black Church. It sounds like there's people that are like living above them or like in the walls. I don't know, like what's the purpose? When does the rest of the cast come in? Like we haven't seen Rika in this book at all, which is crazy. I don't really mind that, TBH, hot take. Rika's cool. I liked Corrupt, but like honestly after reading the other books, she's like kind of my least favorite of the girls, so I don't really mind like going away from her for a little bit. I'm sure she'll come back in, but yeah, that's it for now. I don't really know how the next check-in or two is going to work because I'm actually getting on a plane in the morning. I'm going to Atlanta to see Harry Styles. I also might be stopping at Mystic Falls while we're there. It's gonna be a fantastic day. I'm actually going with my best friend in real life / book buddy, Locke's Library, here on YouTube and Bookstagram. Little plug, go follow her. Anyways, all of that to say, I'm gonna be on a plane tomorrow and the next day, so I'm gonna read a lot, and I don't know when I'm gonna be able to check in. I might be in a hotel room the next time you see me, or I might just have to give you a big chunk of a rant when I get home. We'll see. I'll see you in the next clip. Hello guys, I have had quite the 24 hours. My shower's literally running because I have been so frantic all day today. I literally got home from Atlanta this morning, and then tonight I went to a concert here in Houston. I saw Lainey. They're literally like one of my favorites ever. I know I'm gonna be exhausted for tomorrow, but I couldn't miss Lainey, so that's why I'm still dressed from that. It's like midnight. I haven't even packed yet, but I'm leaving at 6 in the morning. That's when my flight takes off, to go to New York City to see Harry Styles for Harryween. I'm going with my best friend. We're meeting there. It's been a frantic time. I am like 375 pages into Nightfall, so like halfway through. I wanted to finish this for Devil's Night, but it simply isn't gonna happen. Like I've had the craziest week of my life, but that's okay because I literally never do anything, so I'm just gonna like let myself enjoy this and not stress. I promise this video will be up soon. If you're watching this, it's already up. But anyways, I'm rambling. Oh my god, I'm delirious. But yes, I love Nightfall. I love it so much so far. Will, honestly, I think is my favorite of the guys. I like all of the guys for different reasons, but Will is like, of all of them, I just love how like unapologetically in love with Emery he is. I love that he just like, it's so refreshing that he just likes her and tells her he likes her and tells her exactly what he's thinking and like doesn't want to play any games and is like, I just want you to be mine. Like, I'm just really into that. And Emery, I feel like I've seen some mixed reviews on like people liking her or not. Like I have a friend that's also reading this book right now and she feels like Emery doesn't have a personality, but I don't agree with that. I really like her. I understand how she could be like a frustrating character to read, but I think like put in her situation, I feel like I would act the exact same way. Like I think she totally has a reason for pushing Will away, like not letting herself have happiness, because you know, I'm very much a person that is always thinking like way too long term into the future and like, is this gonna work out and how's it gonna like work, and just going through all the possible scenarios. So I feel like if I was her and I was in that crappy situation, I can totally see her whole thing of like, Will is rich, he's gonna go off and like do his thing, and like I am here with my crappy brother and I have no idea what I'm doing in life, and like we're just never gonna work, we're not on the same level and it's just fine, so push him away and can't find out, like, it's a tough situation. And with Martin, like, so I get it. I like her. We've seen now, like, the bus scene. Oh my god, the bus scene. The scene in the cove. We've seen now where, like, after homecoming and she, like, pushing him away, and I think right now we're about to get to, like, the actual Devil's Night where they do, like, destroy the gazebo and I guess beat up Martin. I, like, the details on that are, like, fuzzy for me, so I'm excited to kind of, like, revisit it. And then Alex just showed up at Black Church, which is gonna be interesting because I'm like, does she love Will, or is this just, like, a friendship love? Like, I kind of think it's just a deep friendship love, and they, like, obviously hook up a lot, but I don't know. I'm interested to see where that goes. I'm also confused how Emery knows Alex. Maybe that'll be explained, but yeah, that's where I'm at. Again, I'm getting on a plane tomorrow. This is like the fattest book ever to bring on a plane. It adds like 5 pounds to my backpack, but I'll probably finish it during this New York trip. So when I come back, it'll probably be like when I'm done with the book, because I don't think I'm gonna have time to talk to you guys. But yeah, I'm so excited. Hello guys, I am like so tired. I can't even think right now. I got back from the airport a little bit ago. I had the most incredible 48 hours in New York. Harry Ween was incredible. I got to read so much on the plane today and waiting in the airport. I finished Nightfall. I can't even remember where I left off, but it was so incredible. Let's go back. I think where we last talked, like, Alex had shown up at the house, so we learned, it all connected the dots, right? I was reading Conclave and I was kind of like, I didn't understand why we went off on this whole tangent with, like, Alex giving us her life story about her college roommate who her boyfriend ended up getting, like, she got jealous because her boyfriend was into her because they had, like, done stuff together, and the boyfriend watched, and then the boyfriend ended up not wanting the roommate, so then the roommate, like, made Alex an outcast, and, like, she had to go become a escort, and, like, I didn't understand why we were getting that story, but all the dots connected when we learned that, like, Aiden in the story was that boyfriend, and he wanted Alex, and the reason he ended up at Black Church was because he was supposed to marry that girl and refused to because he wanted Alex. So his family sent him to Black Church. They, like, disowned him for breaking off his engagement. I'm so happy Alex got somebody. Like, I really loved her as a character, and it made me kind of sad that she was just everybody's kind of, like, hookup buddy. And I was like, she needs some love. She needs a relationship. So, like, seeing the Aiden thing and that whole situation, I was a little confused initially. I was like, what is happening here? But, like, as I got more explained, I was like, oh my goodness, that's bonkers. Like, Aiden, it actually connects. Okay, I get it. I mean, God, like, so much. I mean, William Grayson, the freaking third, my favorite horseman through and through. This is my favorite book in the series. I mean, him and Emmy obviously ending up together, and the whole throwdown at the end, and all of them getting married at the same time. I'm sorry, I'm trying to cover like 300 pages at once right now because it was just a lot, but, like, when they all got married at once, I, like, almost started crying on the plane. Like, it just made my heart explode. I don't even feel like I'm a super, like, sentimental, gushy person, but something about the, like, which this trope I normally don't even care about. Like, I'm kind of like, ew, okay, whatever. But, like, the whole, like, found family aspect of, like, the horsemen and all their ladies and how they're all besties and they're each other's family, and through thick and thin, hell and high water, that they all got married at the same time. I literally, my heart. And then Will, like, almost dying for half a second. I swear, I was like, I swear to God, I didn't think he was gonna die, but I'm like, if Will freaking dies, I will sue, like, personally, for emotional damage. Penelope, I would be coming for you. But alas, he did not. And so glad Martin went. Hated his entire guts. I mean, us learning that Emery was kind of the reason they ended up going to jail, but it was really, like, all the parents convoluting. It was a lot. Honestly, like, I'm still a little confused on, like, the timeline of everything. I think by the end of it, I got it figured out, but it is just a little confusing in this whole series. Like, the multiple Devil's Nights that we have, like, we have the Devil's Night where, like, the stuff where Kai and Banks went down, and then also, like, the main Devil's Night where they got arrested. And then I didn't realize, I for some reason in my brain thought that Will and Kai and Damon had like beat up Martin on Devil's Night, but they didn't. It was like randomly over the summer. So yeah, it was just kind of like weaving all the timelines together and then seeing like certain things pop up and like them weave with each other. I loved like Damon and Emery's sort of like back and forth relationship dynamic and how they like understood each other and helped each other out. Like Damon is such a like misunderstood character, and I love him. Like I loved Killswitch so much, but I mean Damon is still a little bonkers. Like we know that and we love him for it, but it's like Will's the one for me, man. Will is just, I love Damon, and I love, oh my god, I love Will and Damon's like brotherly, more than brotherly, I don't even know, their bond is like unbreakable. Like the way that Damon is like such a, doesn't care, like literally I hate everyone in the world but you, and it's like that you is Will for him. Like they're just each other's everything, the way they like cling to each other and care for each other and would do anything for one another. Even though Damon like definitely tried to kill Will, but we just won't talk about that right now. It just like warms my heart and soul, and I loved it. And I love this series. It just wrapped up like so beautifully. We still have Fire Night, which I feel like is not technically a part of this series because it is like in the future. We did see like Michael and Rika adopted this random girl that was like living at the Cove. Kind of random, kind of weird. Also like, I'm all over the place, but like Misha playing like a big kind of part in this book. Not big, but like showing up. Just like the connection with Punk 57 and the other books. I just love all the subtle like interweavings of things. It was just so good. And I just loved the way that Will just like shamelessly loved Emery with like everything in him. Do you guys agree? I would love to know what your favorite book in the series is. I feel like most people say Killswitch, and before I read this one, Killswitch was my favorite. And Killswitch still is the most, like, this was a thick book. Like, a lot of things happened. Every single step of this book wasn't, like, action-packed. It honestly was, like, kind of a slow burn, a slow build-up. But, like, I enjoyed every second of it. Like, completely 5 stars. Like, just the story, the way it builded, the way we, like, the way we got to see like everything happening in the past slowly like coming together and making sense with what's like going on today, and like understanding their current feelings versus their past feelings, and just seeing them like grow as characters and kind of come back to each other in the end, and like right person, wrong time, and just all the like amazing things. And all the, there were a couple scenes in this that I should not have read on a plane. The Will and Damon scene whenever he, Will found when Damon found Emery, when Will found, it's literally, guys, I'm delirious. I've been in 3 states in the past like 4 days, and I don't know what I'm saying. Whenever Will found Emery and Damon at the school, that scene that went down with Will and Damon, oh my god. And then the train car scene, I've never felt such things. I was in a middle seat. It was not a good time. No, it was a fantastic time. Hot damn, I love this series. I'm excited to read Fire Night, but I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be short, and it's like gonna be about their kids from what I know, and I think it'll be like cute and good, but I'm kind of a person that I like to just kind of like leave it. Like, I'm okay with letting them end. Like, don't just keep like adding to it, like know when to stop. So I hope that that isn't just like added for the sake of being added, and it's just kind of like forced or whatever. I mean, it'll still be cute. I'll still gush over it. I'm gonna read that tomorrow because, again, delirious right now. But all of that rambling is to say, freaking obsessed. William, I'm thinking of acting up. I literally saw this girl that made like custom pop figures on Bookstagram earlier, and she made them of the Horseman, and I'm like, I don't care how much money that one is of Will, just like take my credit card because I'm in love with him. Okay, I need to go to bed. Okay guys, I did it. I finished Fire Night and I really liked it. I can't remember if I've already like been through this spiel on this video yet, but I am generally, hot take, not a huge fan of bonus content when it comes to books and series and even like movies, TV shows. Like, I am just a very much person that feels like just let something end when it should end. Like, do not drive it into the ground, especially if it's something that is so good and that you love. Like, once it gets to its peak, once it like, just let it happen, let it finish, let us be done with it, let us cherish the memories. Like, don't just continue to put more content out just for the sake of like making people happy and giving them more. Something about it, I feel like, often just like cheapens the experience of everything, because it just, and I know this sounds absurd, but to me it makes these stories feel like less real if we just keep like adding new scenes, because it's like, you know, that are just random, like later, not following the timeline. I'm saying all of this just as a generalization of how I feel about bonus content, but I really liked this novella. I didn't like love Conclave a lot initially at the beginning of this video because I didn't really understand like why it connected. Once I did, I liked it more, but still, like, I was like, okay, like, we didn't have to have this. It wasn't that necessary. Fire Night, though, was a really cute way to kind of wrap everything up. I think that Nightfall really wrapped up fine on its own, but this especially, I think if I hadn't just finished Nightfall, if I came back to this months later, it would have made me so happy. I am glad because I thought that it was totally focused on the kids, and I'm glad that it wasn't. It was split into 4 parts, focused like from the point of view of each of the 4 horsemen, which made me really happy because, I mean, they're what this series is about. Like, a lot of times we see so much from the girl's perspective, and I do love that, but this book, especially being like the final little piece of the series, it was really nice to just go back to the 4 horsemen and seeing their points of views and where they're at with everything. I will say, good God, they had so many freaking children. I need to look at like the family tree. It was listed somewhere in this book that you can find it online. First of all, there's so many kids, and second of all, their names are all so bonkers. Like, it's just, none of them are names that I've even like heard of, I feel like, which, whatever. That's very much a Penelope Douglas thing. It doesn't matter, not really a part of the story, but it was very cute. I mean, the story focused on Fire Night, which I guess is like the winter solstice, like the longest day of the year, and it's kind of like a new tradition that's not Devil's Night, because in this story, all the horsemen are like in their 30s and they have kids, and this is like a new fun way to celebrate something and have like a ritual. And so I guess they get together and have a party, and they like exchange presents. They like light a tree or light some candles. I literally can't remember what they said, but this was a whole little like mini adventure of a party where Taylor from like Nightfall and then some other character that I guess Banks like fired showed up and tried to kidnap one of Kai and Banks's kids and one of Damon and Winter's kids, their daughter Octavia, and then Madden is Kai and Banks's son. It was so cute. Wait, first of all, I'm getting ahead of myself. Towards the beginning of this book, we did get some reconciliation between Rika and Damon's mom and Damon. I never know how to say her name. Is it Christiane or Chris? I feel like it's Christine, Christiane, whatever. Their mother, how Damon and her like weren't having it. Like, he found out she was actually his mother. He wasn't okay with it. They weren't gonna be cool with each other. They finally like reconciled things in a part of this book in Damon's point of view section, and that made me happy to just have everybody be like one big happy family. So that kind of happened at the beginning, and then some spicy things with Kai and Banks. It was kind of nice to get back to Kai's perspective. He's the one that like started out the story, and it's been a while since I read Hideaway. I mean, just like a few months, but like Kill Switch and Nightfall are such long books that like I really missed Kai like once I got back to him, so it was nice to see that. And then yeah, the kids were kidnapped, and we're going through a whole heist of trying to get them back. And then the ending of the book, the final like epilogue, was from Madden's perspective, and you can see Penelope Douglas has said a million times that like she doesn't plan to write any more books having to do with the Devil's Night series because it's been a really controversial series. Like, people have given her a really hard time for it. You either love it or you hate it, and the people that hate it are really vocal about hating it, so I can totally understand how it's just a sore spot for her and she wants to just leave it. But that epilogue she gave us from Madden's perspective, I'm obsessed with him. Like, I know he's like a little kid right now, but I could tell just like the way he's gonna be, like the combination of that he is of like kind of all the horsemen, like all their personalities in one. Like, seeing inside his head, I'm like, you were such an interesting character. And seeing his like love for Octavia, that childhood friends to lovers, like deep dark, I feel like a book between them would be so freaking good. But she is not gonna give it to us, so I will just use my imagination and accept it. But yeah, guys, I finished this freaking series that I love with my entire heart and soul. I should have grabbed the other books. I'm sorry, they're really heavy. Like, truly, it's a big stack. You know what they look like. The Devil's Night series, I finished it, and I finished it with you guys, and I love it so much. I literally know this is going to be a series I'm going to come back to over and over. Like, it means so much to me, these characters. It's a wild time. It's spicy. It's just everything that I want. It introduced me to Penelope Douglas. I adore it, and I adore that I've gotten to share it with you guys. And so many of you have found it through me, found Penelope Douglas through me, which is so crazy. I love your messages. I love your comments. Please continue to send them. If you ever missed the series, I'm always down to talk about it. But yeah, I have some Penelope Douglas books left to read. Not that many. Pretty much the Fall Away series. I feel like that's literally a misconduct. And then whatever she has coming out next, because I'm going to read literally everything she ever writes. But yeah. That is it for me today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye!